Jerker.
Hey, we're live. Jerkers in the house.
We live.
We do not share our raps. Sorry, no rap sharing.
No rapture.
No rap sharing. It's saying 0 so far. Maybe there's just nobody here. 3. Okay, 3 in the house. See that number crawl up, baby. How's it going, Dylan? I've had a shitty week. You?
Busy.
Oh,
week.
yeah?
Yeah.
I've just been. Oh, it's one of those weeks where you feel like you're cursed. Everything you touch is just breaks or something happens. I don't even have Monday's video done. I do not even have Monday's video done. Usually by Friday I do, because Sunday I work all day on podcasts. So.
And for those that know Aiden likes to be like a month ahead.
Oh yeah, if I can be. I haven't been able to get my feet under me this week. This week's been frustrating. I've got a couple videos on the way. These ones I actually started doing the video. I haven't told you even. This is called the iFi. These are the high-end headphone preamp and DAC.
Yep.
And apparently they're phenomenal. Like, all the specs on these tell me that if you're an audiophile, you will love these. But then I was struggling with, how do you review that? Like, no, it sounds great, you should buy it. I don't know.
I will put it this way. There is no way that is possible for you to capture the details of those devices on a YouTube video.
No.
Just the sheer limitations of the platform alone.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to just basically do an unboxing style, like, hey, this is what they are, and then give them to you and get your feedback out. Because these work, by the way, if you need a good monitoring station with a lot of juice, this is, and I might actually take these back when you're done, just so I can have a decent monitoring station. Because you already have one, I think that's pretty decent, right? Okay, so maybe you can keep them. I'll ask for more. But these are a great monitoring station, so I figured I'd give them to you, and you're a bit of an audiophile. I don't know if you're not a snobby audiophile.
I strive to be. I love like the guys that invest in like this stupid like $80,000 power amplifiers for their
the Macintosh.
Yeah, exactly.
My father-in-law actually owns those. He's a massive audiophile.
I know 2 other people that own these, and I'm like, man, I would love that. I'm in an apartment, so that would be a stupid purchase for me personally. But
my father-in-law buys them completely broken, and he completely
because he's like an electrical engineer.
Yeah, he's an everything engineer. Dude's like ridiculously smart. But like, even for somebody like, I like DVD audio. I really love the sound of DVD audio. There's so much. The remastered version of Rumors is so good on DVD audio. You hear stuff where you're like, that wasn't in the original. No, it wasn't, because they basically sheared off full-on instruments after a certain frequency.
Oh yeah, high def audio and that kind of stuff. Even the fact that this thing that you're holding can do like freaking 96 kilohertz over Bluetooth. I'm like, that's wild to me.
Yeah,
that is wild.
There's a lot of really cool things about this, but this isn't even Monday's video because I'm still working on it. There's a lot of really cool stuff about this. Whether or not my audience goes, wow, that's something that I'm really interested in, will be another thing. But I did promise, like, I've been holding on to these for 2 months, just with so much stuff with NAB and then the music video and all that stuff. I just have not had time. I Like It UK. I watched your music video, not my music taste, but I appreciated the work and effort that went into it. Yeah, if you're not into that East Coast shanty style a cappella sing-along, what are they? It's not a call and answer. There's a specific
it's a work song.
Work song, yeah. I can see you not being into it, but yeah, damn. Dylan really pulled out all the stops with that song. I'm not gonna lie. It was a cool song. A lot of people were like, dude, chills. And it's kind of a lot of that. It's a very popular style of music right now, is that the a cappella sea shanty. Or it was last year. I think we're off by a year, man. I think we missed it just by a year.
We missed the peak.
We would have blown up a year ago.
We already peaked.
But yeah, that thing is working. And then I've got these Elgato sound panels. You can see all the things behind me. And then I even have like there's a bit of an Easter egg somewhere on my wall. I wonder if anyone's going to pick up on it. But it's been a week. And I have so earlier today I grabbed my vacuum cleaner. I was cleaning up the stairs and I sucked up a sock, completely plugged my vacuum cleaner. Nice. It was plugged. It took me about an hour to unplug it.
Oh my God.
It's just, that's the kind of shit that has been happening to me all week. And I just can't. By the way, you didn't link Dylan's channel in the description, Jerker. I'm sorry, buddy.
It's because it doesn't exist yet.
It does not exist yet. Dylan is being hyper focused, and actually he's launching the channel the way, in probably a very responsible manner. Dylan's not going to be launching with the kind of videos you'd expect a first video to be like. Dylan's doing them upright. You're going with the shorter video concept, right?
As short as it needs, as short as it can be. You know, it's funny in radio, we always do as long as it needs to be. Well, this is as short as it can be. The opposite, the opposite of as long as it needs to be.
Oh, especially when you're new, man. You have to,
well, you know, bite size, right? You got to think in bite sized.
Yeah, concept. But you also have to gain trust, and it's hard to gain trust with a 20-minute video to start. I think a lot of people make that mistake when they start out YouTube, is they're like, oh, I've got everything to say. And then they pump out a 20-minute video. And most people look at that by somebody they don't know. And they're like, am I going to waste 20 minutes on this guy I've never even heard before and only has like 3 subscribers? Probably not. So you'll notice a lot, people will take more of a chance on you when you have shorter content to start. And then you can expand on it as time goes, as you build that trust up. So Lost in Boca. I remember you. Responsible on the internet. Who does that? Nobody.
It's true.
Yeah, dude, I had I started to realize, so Dylan and I were talking about dickheads in comments earlier. I forget what the concept was behind that, but
your music was too loud.
Oh yeah.
In your video.
So, yeah, that one. That's just idiotic comments, which I just shrug off and like, whatever, I move on.
Well, especially, you know, they're idiotic, because if you come back and you're like, oh, at this point, it really felt like it was overpowering your voice. It's like, oh, cool, all right. But you two responded twice and you got nothing. And so I was like, all right, you know, go grandstand in the corner somewhere.
I got one of the, and I actually got a comment that made me realize why I get so triggered by certain comments on my channel. And I've noticed this because I react. I've got this initial reaction of fuck you when I get certain comments. And I couldn't quite, because it's not like, it doesn't hurt me. I don't like lay in bed at night going, what did that person be mean to me? And it doesn't even faze me. And I couldn't quite figure out why it was triggering and pissing me off to the degree that it was. So much so that I challenge it. Anytime I get that stuff, I'm the first one to get on there. I'm sorry, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And I realized I got a comment today by somebody. And actually I can pull it up here. Basically what it made me realize is it pisses me off when people try to bring you down a notch, when they feel like they have to like impose on you.
Yeah, you and I talked about this earlier, about how I think there's a lot of really unconfident people, like, because you're a confident person. I wouldn't say you're an overconfident person. You're a confident person. You're like a accurate level of confidence. But for all the people that don't have any confidence, your mainline level of confidence looks like overconfidence. So they're like, I need to humble you. And even if there's nothing to humble you for, they'll just start making up shit, right?
Well, this guy, this is Danny B5081. By the way, catchy name, love it. Basically was
never gets old.
I know. Commented on the SM58 into an SM7B video where I swapped out the transformer. Basically saying, hey, you know, I might try this with one of my mics. However, respectively, ... In my opinion, you should try considering using a de-esser on some sort, because I couldn't do a serious comparison by listening without cringing every time I heard you speak an S or SH sound. It might just be me, but every time I heard an S or SH sound, it was like fingernails on a chalkboard. My brain shut down. Note that I was listening to the video on my laptop with some quality earbuds. Sorry, anytime somebody says quality earbuds, stop. Fuck off. If any earbuds can be considered quality. LOL. For extreme example of what I'm trying to explain try saying silly salty or Sally sells seashells by the seashore several times through the mics and listen to it as if I didn't know I'm sibilant. And then goes on to tell me all of the ways that I could get around and actually get rid of that gosh awful sibilance. And you know what my problem is with crap like this? And I realized when I read this, it's not the fact that you're shaming me, because I don't give a fuck. I know who I am, and I'm not a child. I know some of my strengths. I know my weaknesses. The problem I have is when people
I am self-aware.
Kind of I am very self-aware. I know what I suck at. Do I pretend to be better than I am at some of the things I suck at? Yes, I do, because I also don't give a shit. But the thing that pisses me off is when people do this stuff, this is the kind of feedback that kills momentum for a lot of people when they're trying something new. When you're trying to be a guitarist and you put a video out on the internet about you playing guitar and somebody puts a comment that starts with respectfully, you sound like trash. Imagine walking up to a person at a party going, respectfully, you're really fat. Have you considered eating less carbs?
There are people that do that. They're usually very posh, but there are people that do that.
And this is what pisses me off, because you know what that person is going to do is they're not going to go to a party next time. Or you walk up to somebody at the beach and you say, hey, have you ever realized that bikini makes you look fat and ugly?
It's very reductive language.
Exactly. Now, the one response, this is how you know, this is the ultimate know that these people are douchebags and aren't worth your time. Because the response 100% of the time was, why are you getting hostile? I'm just trying to help. Every single time, because it's an abusive type of behavior. It's the behavior that makes somebody gives you a backhanded compliment, or in a way, like they try to backhand you with information, lording it over you, like I know more than you.
Here's what it's passive aggressive.
Yes.
And so what passive aggressive means psychologically is people are generally passive aggressive when they're mad about something, but they know that the reason they're mad about something is ridiculous. And they don't want to put themselves in a position to be actively challenged by you. So they'd rather have plausible deniability on their side, right? They'd rather be like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm being completely pleasant and polite. It's just,
but
like,
it's also
it's gaslighting.
Yeah, it's a form of abuse. So you basically slap somebody, and when they push back, you're like, whoa, I didn't say anything wrong. I'm just trying to help.
Yeah.
Which makes the person think, oh, now I'm being an asshole and overreacting. It's
gaslighting.
One of the most ridiculous types of grandstanding on the internet that is constant.
And is very prevalent in the audio video space.
Oh, dude. And what bothers me is there's kids out there just starting out doing stuff like, you know, taking a chance because they have a little bit of knowledge and
trying to make something.
And then people do shit like this, and you make people think twice about their content. And I remember back when I started this channel, I did 2 videos. One was how to destructively edit in Adobe Audition. That was like one of my first videos, and it seemed to get some views. People were watching it. So I did a second video, how to edit in Adobe Audition, in multi-track Adobe Audition. And because I didn't script it, I just kind of jumped in and screen recorded and recorded my voice over it. I was kind of like, oh, where do you start? Where do you go? And I was like pausing. There's some awkward cuts in it because it was one of my first videos. And a guy got on there, and I still remember this to this day. The guy basically said, you have no business putting these videos out. I would just delete this. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is garbage. And my response, basically, I didn't know what I was talking about. My response was I hid the video. Because I had no surety of myself. I was still trying something new. I didn't know.
Yeah, you were like, okay, fair enough. You did it. And then now looking back, you're like,
yeah. And this is what I think there's the core of my anger when it comes to this kind of stuff, because there's people trying this stuff. Stop punching down. It's so annoying. Anyways, this is one of my little rants for today. This is probably why I'm in a bit of a pissy mood too.
That's fair.
Which, by the way, just in case you didn't know, Andrew, hello. Less weird today, not seeing the sides of Dylan's head. I know, right? I've seen them from all angles. Well, it's like me when I was using the 45-degree angle with my Canon.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of weird seeing that extra angle.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, that's a contour I'm not used to seeing."
Right. Glad you both had fun. I'm guessing making the sounded great through my hi-fi. Nice. Quality earbuds on a laptop because laptops are known for good DACs. Am I right? Yeah, their Bluetooth
Totally
quality is fantastic. Unless they're wired, even better. I'm listening through my wired earbuds on my laptop. I might be fat, but I can lose the weight. Your ugly commentary goes right to the bone. Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know why people. And yes, it's probably self-esteem related. But I've been trying, and this was something I kind of told myself after the whole interaction I had with a couple of people from Bandrew's Discord, which has kind of continually gone on. I've decided that I'm just going to try to be less combative in the comments. But then I realized that no, the problem is maybe not me being combative, because there have been times where I've overreacted to what somebody has said, and then I'm the asshole. But then I'm okay being the asshole, because 9 times out of 10, it's mostly people being assholes to me or to other people. I've had people come into my comments and like shit on other people for their opinions, and I jump in on those as well. So maybe it's just me deciding I have to, do I have to like clean up some of my cantankerous anger? And it always catches you in the wrong day. I rarely does this shit happen when I'm having a good day. Usually I'm having a shitty day and I'm like, all right, you want to fucking fight? We'll fight. So yeah, anyways. Other than that, Dylan, how was your week? How did you enjoy the fallout of Chemical Workers song?
Oh, it was fun. It was fun, showing it to people, watching the comments roll in and just sort of tracking them on both videos, setup video and the actual music video. It was nice hearing that Alan was a fan of it. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool. Though he didn't share it. It's like, Alan, come on, man. Come on, Alan. Anyways, yeah. It was really cool to see everybody kind of step behind that and go, wow, that's great. I gotta say, a much better response than we got with Hurt.
Yeah.
This is like triple what Hurt got in the same time period, which is really cool. And I think the setup video probably has most to do with that. The setup video was I found the setup video was a bit different outside of what I usually do with videos, how I edit them.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of fun doing that. I thought it was a lot more TV-esque kind of interview or kind of docu style.
It was like a little vignette.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed the whole process. Fuck, was that a lot of work?
A lot of footage.
There was so much footage. I actually crapped out my computer, because Final Cut Pro apparently likes to just completely fill up its hard drives while it's trying to do or its SSDs when it's trying to do a video. So I completely seized up my my M2 Mac Mini, which kind of sucked for a little while there, which led to some frantic moving shit around.
Frantic file management.
I seized my computer for about 6 hours on
nice.
I think it was the Friday or the Saturday.
I've had that. And yeah, when you hit the roof on your system drive, especially, like stuff gets really weird really fast.
But when it's also part of because that all that stuff was part of a file, like a movie editing file. So if you move it, now it completely fucks up everything that you've been doing. Yeah, because you've got to go back and change everything.
Most of the time when you move stuff, there needs to be at least a little bit of swing space on each side to sort of, manage the transfer. And if you don't have that, it can be kind of hard without just full on deleting batches of stuff that you have backed up in place.
Andrew, we'll get to you in a second. Jerker says today's a bit quieter than usual. Have you turned up your volume, Jerker? Sorry, no, I don't. I think it kind of
do you mean that, or do you mean like, I don't know, like work wise, because we're talking about our crazy week?
Yeah, okay, yeah, it could be that. If it's just this, I'm pretty sure StreamYard normalizes, so I don't know. I wouldn't know, man.
I am going through the Rodecaster, so I might be a little quieter.
No, you're not. You're just as you're just
as rambunctious.
Oh, he means the chat. Okay. I take back my spicy comment about your volume, jerker.
Yeah, we always go to the worst.
Some weeks, and I find, and this is a fascinating thing, if I ever want to weed out all of the people that only like this for one specific thing, if I mention music, they don't come to it. And I noticed that, like with this music video, a lot of people like get irritated that we do music on this channel. I still remember the one comment, the one guy's like, "Why are you doing music? I'm here for podcasts." And I'm like,
well, don't watch the music stuff.
We do an audio channel, man. Audio is all things audio. Like, we do voiceover stuff.
The music industry has funded lots of advancement in the audio sector. Let's be clear about that.
Right. Yeah.
Like without the music industry, audio would not exist.
Yeah, kind of not. Yeah.
Let's remember that. Silent films would probably still be here if it wasn't for the music industry.
Yeah, Steve, the sound quality is great. The new background also Andrew, I really love the background you have today. Aiden, is it modern art or reflecting the theme? It is a video I have coming up on these things. This is the Elgato sound panel. And I've been meaning, because I do follow kind of what people say about the channel and kind of talking about just in general. And usually I'll get comments from people saying, dude, you have a lot of reflections in your audio. And I don't really, but there is some resonance. You can definitely hear some resonance when I'm doing a video with a shotgun microphone. Some of it has been the desk, which I've now got a desk pad that I've been using. You'll see that in the new video. But I also needed to do something with behind me. And I remember saying when I did this that this isn't done. Like, this is just kind of a stand-in. I'm trying to build this set out as much as I can. The new camera has kind of complicated that by giving me such a wide view. But my old setup used to be so tight. Like, I was listening to a video that I did in that old setup, and crap, was it tight. Man, oh man, did it sound fucking good. The problem is I can't work with that as my background because it's so stressful to try to keep clean because I work there.
Yeah.
It's not like meant to be pretty. I struggle keeping this clean behind me, let alone my actual workspace. So yeah, the one thing I wanted to do was actually some sound panels, but Auralex is god freaking awful ugly. I am so sick of the Auralex look. And at first I was like, oh, it doesn't look that bad. After a while, it starts to droop unless you like glue it to the wall. Yeah, it's ugly. And I am way behind on comments here.
Yep.
DJ Play Nice, how's you going? Yeah, so those things behind me, Steve and Andrew, those are the frame to hold the Elgato wave panel. These are fantastic, by the way. They do actually have decent sound absorption. I'm still working on a way to test all the different types of panels and how absorbent they are with sound. I think I'm going to end up having to do a voiceover booth, and I'm going to have to build one in the basement here. So that's coming. Here for the community. Sad, I know. LOL. Red Cabin, you know what, man? This is, I think, one of the reasons I love the community and why I've been so ardent about building the community here is I've seen a lot of shitty behavior in the audio community as a whole on other channels, on other Discords, and like when you combine that with being a YouTuber that does audio stuff, there's just a lot of mean. And it's like, I like the community. Like, I like Dylan's not mean. Dylan is, I would put Dylan's expertise in front of a lot of people that are that show up on this channel. No offense to anybody. Dylan's just really good. Dylan's not an asshole about it. You don't have to be an asshole.
I have my saucy moments, but as you talked about before, I'm generally not going to be saucy at you unless you're going to be saucy at me.
Exactly. That's the point. And I'm generally the same way. So
like I will never initiate the sauciness.
You know? So for the community we have here, yeah, I'm here for the community as well. And if people are going to be really sour or toxic, they're not going to be part of this community. So, and I'm hoping to keep the community like that. Like, I really hope we continue that way. Jerker, I can understand a lot of people who shop for microphones are actually in for spoken word entertainment, such as podcasting or YouTube or just Discord. Yeah, and you know what? That's cool. I feel like a lot of the audio YouTubers, Podcastage does music, but it's fascinating. I was chatting with him about it. I think it was last year, and he's like, yeah, the music parts of his videos are the ones that are skipped over the most. Because people see him start to play the guitar and people just jaunt over it. I did the same thing. I started doing like part of the mic reviews was guitar playing. People just jump right over. They have no time for that shit. But I think there's something to be said on all ends where people might be hunting for a microphone to mic up an amp, right? They might be hunting for a microphone to sing at a live show with. And like the SM58 videos are some of the most popular videos on this channel. So, you know, I mean, it's tough, right? Like there's not much you can do because I'm not going to do a video about singing with a mono PodMic PD, whatever it is, 200X. No. But then if I'm reviewing the new Shure mic, the Nexadyne, it's probably going to have some musical elements to it because it's a stage mic. So, I mean, it's just like it's your expectations of what the channel is going to be kind of have to be tempered based on what we're doing. Rode certainly does not make all of its money from podcasters. No, it does not. I just saw, again, I'm finding out Rode has microphones that I've never heard of before. Bandrew just reviewed, I believe, the T4. They're the two new, or the pencil mics.
Yep.
You've heard of them before?
The NT4, I believe.
No, is it the NT4?
There is an NT4 pencil mic Rode pencil mic. It's basically
no, it's not that. Just go to Bandrew's channel because he just podcastage. He released the video a couple days ago. It is the Shure TF5.
TF5.
Yeah. I've never heard it, and apparently they sent it to him in like 2019 and he just reviewed it now. Good one, Bandrew. I've done the same thing though, don't worry. I have once again the iFi unit here. The guy sent me these, and he's actually been lovely guy from the UK. He's been emailing me like, so are you planning on doing anything with these? I'm like, yeah, getting there. And I just started working on them this week. But yeah, you do feel like a bit of a dick when you do that. But Rode makes, like, Rode's gear is most decidedly not all podcaster.
No.
The NT2A was not built for podcasters in mind.
I mean, we used all Rode microphones for that project. We didn't really draw a ton of attention to that in the video, but yeah, every element that was recorded for that song was a Rode mic. There was a lot NT5s, NT2A, NTR, obviously. Yeah,
the NTR was so good. I know they don't have a lot of them because I don't think they even have them in production anymore because they're ribbon mics and people aren't buying tons of ribbon mics. Man, I want another one. You've got the one that I've got, and I'm like, man, but we could both have one. Jerker, so they think you're like a smaller podcastage, but going deeper into what you do. Is there anything you haven't done? Music, podcasting, content creation, radio? No. I've actually been a part of all of that. I was I toured with the top indie metal band in Canada by the name of Persist. I did my own album 2007, I think 2008, which was a shit show. Podcasting, I've been on all ends of podcasting to different degrees of capability and success, all the way up to the highest end of podcasting. Content creation, yes. Well, that's kind of goes hand in hand with both radio and podcasting. And radio, yeah, I was a morning show host for quite some time. So, yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like when you're looking at audio gear, most of my views come from podcast stuff because that's the largest pool of people that are willing to watch a video, right? Or podcasters or people interested in podcasting or something. But then at the same time, you know, like when you like I've been telling people buy an SM58, it's the ultimate microphone for everybody. Everybody should own one. But then like I bought an SM58 the first time because I was in a band. SM7B, great vocal performance mic if you're recording in studio. It's been used by many. Screamo loves the SM7B. Screamo loves the SM7B.
Yep.
Right? So like, it's not just, I'm sorry, Joe Rogan, it's not a podcasting mic, but it has been. So it's kind of just making sure you're looking at everything from all angles. And like, maybe I'm never going to do a how to mic a drum kit ever again video. But I mean, I would like to. I know there's people out there that are into it for the music. Like you see some of these channels like SMG, Spectre Music Group. There's a ton of music channels with people that are a lot more talented at the music than I am.
And than I am.
Yeah, right. Like, man, it's just, there's room for it. There's room to have it on the channel. It's just a matter of like, do I put one audio video out a week and one music video out a week? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, wait. Are the panels worth it? I need to get something for my home office. I Like It UK. This is coming out Monday. I don't want to spoil it too much. The panels are good enough to purchase. They're not more expensive than the Auralex. They're actually a relatively decent price. They're the most attractive sound panels on the market, bar none. Like these look really good on the wall. They're the 100%. However, these are all broken frames. Let me just put it that way. I'm not going to bitch about this. I still have to contact Elgato, and I think they're going to be contacting me after the video. So I'm pretty pissed off about how it went. So it's going to be an interesting video. Once again, though, if you're willing to put them up with all the care and ease and use screws instead of two-sided tape, they're awesome. I don't like using screws or anything like that for sound treatment, because I think you need to move sound treatment around. Depending on, like, if I move this desk off to the side, I now have to put sound treatment in different spots. So anyways, watch the video. It's going to be fascinating. Otherwise, they're fantastic. These sound panels are very good. And there was a noticeable difference between off and on. And I'm talking about my pants. Lost in Bokeh, you mean you don't always record these in an anechoic chamber? I wish I had an anechoic chamber.
Yeah.
How would Dylan mix and score old Charlie Chaplin and silent vintage films when music was king? Mids forward.
I mean, that's fun. I mean, yeah, mids forward. But no, like doing orchestral stuff, man. I haven't done it in a while, but the most I do these days is like string ensemble, but writing scores for large orchestras, like symphonic orchestras, is fun because you have so many little, I don't know, as a composer anyway, you have tons of little toys at your disposal. That's kind of the way I look at it. And there's lots of paint brushes that you can use to paint a picture. And I don't know, I find, like, I don't know, if I just threw a euphonium into a modern day pop song, I don't think it would have quite the same impact. Or, like a bass clarinet, right? As a lead during a portion of a song, like just you could do such weird stuff. And in one song, you could have 17 different sections, and that was normal, right? Like, so as a composer, I don't know, doing that old kind of music, quote unquote, classical style music, if you will, is actually a lot of fun.
Andrew, this is actually a great question. The Elgato frames, how far off the wall did the tiles work so they work twice in and out as sound bounces off the plaster? Here's a fascinating thing about audio and bouncing off walls. All you need of a gap between this and the wall for this to work twice is a gap the size of the wave. So technically, if you had a gap that was like 1/16 of an inch, it would technically work there and back. You do tend to have better responses with it further away. So if you have like a 1/2 inch gap, it's going to work better. And you'll get less muddying of the stuff that kind of bounces around in there. This thing actually has it's, I would say, about 1/32 of an inch, or maybe a little bit more. Like maybe like 1/16 of an inch in between. So technically there is a gap on these, which I really do like about this. That's one of my favorite things about this, about these things, is because of this frame. With the Auralex, they're just up against the wall. You either glue them on or you nail them on. But if you want a gap or a spacer, you have to put your own spacers in, which nobody does because it's just Auralex.
Well, and the whole
So
thing that we're shooting for is to basically have as many, because every time sound waves hit a boundary, which is kind of a point where the density, there's like a significant change in density. So like gas to liquid, gas to solid, liquid to
yep,
solid, and those kinds of things would be boundaries. Um, the wave loses energy. So your whole thing with having it spaced off the wall is you got the sound wave going from air into the foam material, then out of the foam material into the air again, and then into the air, into the bouncing off the wall, hitting the wall, back into the air. And so you're trying to kind of maximize that in a way that's space efficient, right? Because
yep,
ideally, if you could have kind of infinitely long bunch of boundaries and they're all getting slightly less, they're more and more dense, you would be in a completely echo-free chamber, but that would be ridiculously expensive and space consuming.
yeah. And what you mentioned density. The other thing I really love about these is their dual density. So you have the foam, but then you have a thicker, kind of heavier foam at the back. Then this is so it hangs, right? But also because you have a dual density in here, the sound actually has to transfer between those two things. Now, there is no air gap. I wish there was an air gap. And actually, I should probably look in to see if there is actually an air gap on these, which would be cool. Having an air gap in the middle for between the two densities would literally slow down the sound waves so much. But
Yeah.
for the most part, just you do have that little gap. I would say about 1/16 of an inch on the back. So yeah.
And the reason that gradient in densities, the reason why you can't just jump to like stupid thick or rock level densities, obviously because the more dense a material is, the more something will reflect off of it.
Yeah.
And so obviously in this case, if we obviously drywall is very dense, but it's also extremely reflective. And so the idea is to have layers that sort of gradually bring
Yeah.
that, if you could. Again, most of the time you can't, and having one or two layers, but it is nice that it has that dual density. So you're sort of absorbing one spectrum of frequencies a little bit better than another spectrum of frequencies, and also helping to remove as much of that energy as possible.
Yeah. Didn't Rode have a super expensive stereo set of pencils, like $1,400 a set? Yes, they did. And those are the ones that Bandrew reviewed, the TF5s. They are they're just showing 2,000 because I'm in Canada. B&H. Let's look at B&H. They're $14.99. They're real nice. They sound fantastic. I was watching Bandrew's video. They sound super nice. We should ask for those instead of the NT5s, don't we?
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you just give us all the expensive mics?
Yeah, just all of them. Yeah. The K2 while you're at it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because like we wanted Rode representation with this. So we're like, hey man, do you got any NT5s? But then it's also like, you're like, oh, well, how about we get some other stuff? I could use a couple NT2s, but then you can't do that too, because then you're just a dick asking for a bunch of free stuff. NT3 and NT4 stereo are used in sound effects recording, has been for years. Yeah, I've always wanted to get the NT3 and NT4. The NT4 looks really cool. That's basically the XY on a stick.
It's two NT5s in like a stereo pair, basically.
Yeah,
and a super nice compact form factor.
It's very nice. Rode TF5 it was. Yes, it was. I'm trying to get through some of these compliments. Yes, compliments. The compliments section. I think you should test a microphone for Tibetan throat singing. It's not quite singing, not quite spoken word. And you make everyone happy or unhappy. You make everyone happy or unhappy. Your Tibetan audience will go wild. I'm pretty sure I have at least one Tibetan. Is that what you call them? Tibetan? Do you know any throat singers, Dylan?
Not personally, no, but
I do.
I know some content creators do it.
So it's not just Tibetan. There's also some indigenous singers in Canada here that use throat music.
Yeah, throat singing ends up being a broad range of cultures, actually.
Yeah. So I think maybe like we could try. Is there anything that we would want to test out with that, Dylan? Because I could probably get a hold of somebody that is a throat singer.
I mean, the thing about throat singing, right, is it's overtones.
Yeah.
And so to capture the deepness and the texture of those overtones, you need a mic that's capable of capturing a lot of detail and then like sweetening it a little bit. Just to kind of make it sound full, but not like kind of sharp. Cause I found like I don't know, hearing some of that stuff recorded again in content that's like live and they're just using whatever's available. I'm like, ooh, that's pointy. That's a lot. And so like something like the TF5s, I think would be awesome for that.
I'm just looking at what something TM welcome tape. What is TM welcome tape or 3M welcome tape? Anyways, okay. So I was going through this. That jerker. The fact people do not like the SM58 for stuff like podcasting just because the mic doesn't look broadcasty, despite being originally made for that purpose, is crazy. Yeah, you know what? Well, the SM58 was originally made for stage and studio use because SM means studio microphone. But yeah, like if what's his name? Podcaster Joe Rogan decided to use an SM58, he'd probably do it a lot of favors. People would actually realize, oh god, that sounds good, because it sounds better than an SM7B raw. Like without any EQ or compression, the SM58 sounds better than the SM7B. Now, once you dress them up, I like the SM7B a little bit better.
Yeah.
But raw, completely just out of the box, which most people do with their podcast, by the way, especially when they're starting out. Yeah, I'm guilty of that myself, even crazier. She used the 3M welcome tape instead of the two-sided tape for the walls. Yeah, so the problem with this was the tape that they had installed. Anyways, that's in the video. Bloody Cactus, would you recommend the Portacapture X6, X8 over the Zoom H6 Essential or maybe Zoom F3? Bloody Cactus, this is a great question. So when I went to NAB, or NAB for you snowflakes out there, I met up with my contact at Tascam. And now I did the last Tascam review I did two things. I did their Mixcast 4, which I did a glowing review. I loved the Mixcast 4. It was fantastic. But I also he also sent me the TM70, which was the Tascam podcasting microphone, I guess, that they released for $99. And it was basically a trashed out assembly line garbage microphone that should have never been released. And I called them out on it, and then I didn't hear from Tascam for a little while. And then I met up with my contact at NAB, or NAB for the snowflakes. And he said, yes, I've got a Portacapture X8 for you. So I emailed him when I got back, and he's like, yes, I've got the Portacapture, but yeah, I've only got an X6 for you. And I'm like, that works. And then dude ghosted me. So I'm thinking one of two things happened. He died, which I'm hoping not. I really like the fella. Or number two, he saw my Zoom reviews before he sent it out, and he went, oh shit, we can't send this. So I have not yet used a Portacapture X6. From what I hear, they're fantastic. The noise floor is slightly better than the Zoom counterparts. So I would say I would go with the Portacapture X6 or one of the older Zooms. The Zoom H5 still holds up. The Zoom H8 actually has, out of all of them, except for the Tascam, has the best EIN out of all of them, the H8. And it's not overly expensive. If you're thinking Zoom F3, you're going to get the best performance out of everything. The Zoom F3 is actually neg 125 EIN, and it's their field recorder series. They do really well with their field recorder series. But yeah, fingers crossed in the Portacapture X6. I'm gonna buy one if he doesn't send it to me soon. I'm just gonna buy one, and I want to know now. Now I'm curious what's wrong with this thing, because that's now you've got me thinking there's something wrong with it. For noise control through a double or triple glazed window, each pane of glass should be different thickness, and the laminate outer is a different thickness matters.
Oh yeah, like acoustic windows design, especially for again, like maximizing your STC rating on that area, is really fascinating. I enjoy whenever I go into a new kind of audio centric facility that has booths and stuff like work. I'm always looking at the windows to see how they built the windows, because sometimes they'll skimp out on it and they'll just put a regular window that's parallel. Genius.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
In a professional radio station. Meanwhile, I remember at my high school.
Oh yeah, the angled glass they used to have.
Yeah.
You should take those panels back home and use the reverb in your room to test mics for Gregorian choral singing. Every church and cathedral would subscribe. God damn it, Jerker, you have no idea. So we had an idea with the Lawton Audio LA 120s, which are their pencil mics. Super interesting. You can pick any kind of roll off that you want on them. Super fantastic. But they also have the Omnis for them. And I was asking the guy when I was talking to him, I'm like, how would you mic a pipe organ? And we were going to do a video on how to mic a pipe organ.
I've done it.
That's cool. Yeah, Dylan's done it, but we just wanted, like, it would be a fun video. And so I called the one church in Ottawa that has one, and I don't know if there's more, but I called the one that I know has one, and they refused to get back to me. They just refused to talk to me. How Christian of you. That's all I want to say. How Christian of you. Anyways, I think I've offended enough people. That was fucking loud. Shrimp, how's you going, buddy? Welcome. Or possibly number 3, the Tascaminotti found out that he wanted to send you something to shut him down. That is actually a real possibility. I know I haven't made friends with certain companies that there are certain companies that are a little bit more, they're built more like a corporation.
I was just going to say corporate.
Yeah, Zoom is one of those. And I know Zoom probably will never send me another thing, at least until their memory resets, which happens every couple
years. Until their memory resets. I love that.
It does happen, though.
It does. Oh, yeah. Well, because they change people so frequently.
Yeah, they swap them out.
The little family business that has, that like Shure that might have had the same receptionist for 30 years. Like that, like when you're in the corporate space, like there's such high turnover for stuff like that in most cases.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. So anyways, there's a good chance, although I'm pretty sure Tascam's like Mackie, where they're kind of just a small little shop. So I'm going to hold out. I'm going to reach out to him again in a couple of weeks. I could just be having a lot of fun with it. And maybe he's on holidays and doesn't set up an email. That's also possible right after NAB. Your Rode headphones, any learning now you have used for a while now? What's Dylan wearing? The Rode NTH 100s are still my go-to everyday carry, maybe you call them. Like the headphones I'm going to put on all the time to listen to something are going to be these. I don't edit with them. I do my critical listening with my Beyerdynamic DT770s. And the DT770s are comfortable, but these are the most comfortable headphones I've ever worn. And they sound good. Like I don't do critical listening with them, but I'll listen to anything with them. They sound good. No real issues. Dylan, what do you think, like between the Rode NTHs and I'm guessing you have the Shures?
These are the 840As, the SRH 840As, which tend to be my sort of mixing position drivers. I'm nervous about Shure headphones. These have been safe so far. These have been safe so far. And as much as when I first looked at the SRH 840A revision, I was like, I think these actually might break faster. But no, honestly, they've fallen on the floor a alarming number of times, despite my carefulness. But the cable gets caught on things, and you pull your chair out, the cable gets stuck under the wheel, and yoink. And I remember that happened. I had a pair of 940s. They're still somewhere. And that happened once because I loved those headphones. I love those headphones so much. And that happened once and they snapped.
Oh, that sucks.
They hit but then here's the thing. Sure. When I called them on the phone, I talked to one of their warehouse guys, really great guy named Chris. And he's just like, hey, yeah, that's not supposed to happen. We'll
awesome.
we'll fix them or we'll send you new ones. I'm like, okay. He's like, you didn't try to repair them, did you? I'm like, it was in the middle of a work day. So I needed them to work. So I glued them. And so he's like, oh, because it voids the warranty technically. And I'm like,
fuck off.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh, that pisses me off. And you know what? The one thing, Andrew, about the Rode headphones, they do have a weak point, like all headphones. But if they break,
the extension brackets on I still have a pair of 440s that's in good shape. I had the same thing happen to a pair of 840s, although that was weird. The plastic almost disintegrated. But I have another pair of 840s. I've had these for a few years now. They're used pretty regularly, no problem. These, The A40As are used all the time, no problems at all. So that said, we're talking about the Rhodes. The NTH 100s, I found them very comfortable. I liked how comfortable they were. Looking at the way the frame was designed, I thought they were going to be very brittle. But so far, again, they've hit the floor a couple times, and I think they're definitely like steel reinforced because they don't budge. They look like they would budge. They look like they would snap, but they're very sturdy. The sound quality of these I prefer to the NTH 100s. So that's my first sort of point. And then my second point is they bleed like a son of a bitch.
Oh, they do bleed.
I was gonna say if you listen to that, I mean, you can't hear it in Aiden's video, but if you listen to the instrumental version of our song, you can hear the headphones on some of the instruments. Especially at some points, it really jumps up and down between.
Yeah, certain frequencies kind of pop out more than others, and that's because of the construction of the ear pads.
Well, and it's when I use headphones, normally I expect that, so I actually roll off. I put a low pass filter on my headphones, and they were still as bleedy as they were.
But I mean, those are the trade-offs, and the trade-offs are, fair. For me to wear headphones all the time, I hate a lot of types of headphones, and I wear headphones a lot. So these ones are the only ones that I've gone back to for the everyday carry style. Like if I've got to throw something on just to listen to a video, these will be the first ones I go for.
Yeah, those are exactly. I would agree. Yeah, the NTH 100s for me have kind of become the portable. Like, all right, I gotta listen to something. Not the most critical, but I gotta at least hear that it's not fucked. All right, I'll use these.
I have a basic Austrian Audio headphone X15. I've never tried the Austrian Audio headphones. I've noticed YouTube is even more passionate about headphones than microphones. Do you know why? Actually, that's fascinating. I haven't done a lot of headphone stuff because much like the iFi units here, that it's hard to review headphones, man. It's hard to they sound great. Buy them so you can find out for yourself.
Well, you almost have to describe them using like audiophile speak. Like there's a warmth, there's a kind of shimmer in the top end. Like you got to get really pretentious about it because
I throw up in my mouth every time I do that shit. Oh God.
But that's when you look at like headphone review videos, at least when we're talking about like hi-fi headphones.
I like how the mid-range tickles my ears, but it doesn't.
You're like describing it like you describe like a nice brandy or something,
or
like
a wine.
Or a wine, exactly. The bouquet. Yes, the bouquet.
By the way, I've got to go in a minute too because it is my kid's birthday today.
Happy birthday,
Lily
Dark Corner Jr.
Lily, that's fine.
Okay.
I think I've said their name on here before. Shrimp, I love this one. I'm hitting G-forces in the forklift that would make a fighter pilot fucking shit himself. God, that's awesome. By the way, just put that on a Hallmark card, man. That is just that's a Hallmark card. Rick, I love the Rode 840A. 840A? Is that the
sure
840A? Yeah,
the ones I'm wearing.
I wish they had a shorter version cable or the Rode.
At first I kind of liked having the really simple cable because as much as I love the coil cable, they always get screwed up at some point. In some way or form, and they get tangled and wrapped on everything, and cables that run across them get caught up in the coil. But the drag on this, oh my God, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I'll be like sitting in my chair, like listening to something, like critically, and I'll be like nodding my head on headphones, and I'll hear.
Oh, so it's not the NTH 100s. I remember.
I find the coil drag on those way not as bad. The Shure 84. It did this. I like this. Is clearly a decent quality cable in my opinion. It feels high quality, but it's just the way the surface is.
So how far down?
Yeah.
Do you go before you stop hearing it?
How far down? All right. So if I hold it taut, obviously like a telephone, like I'll hear it. Doesn't matter where it is because the vibration but if I just leave it slack and I grab it, and so I hear that. Okay, I'm like, okay, I'm like 3 or 4 feet down the cable.
I am too.
And I still hear it.
Yeah, you're it. All right. Yeah, the
so the moral of the story is try not to move when you're critically listening, or you'll hear it. Or sometimes what I'll do too is just like, I don't know if I'm really I'm going to be hardcore mixing or doing something on headphones for a long time. I'll like tape the cord to my back slack, and that will help kind of minimize it a little bit.
Headphone reviews are so much more subjective. Yeah, I got to go here in a second, but let's.
It's true. There's a lot of subjectivity.
Yeah, and I try to avoid subjective reviews as much as I can. Shrimps, just because. Yeah, cheers, buddy. Yes, I've heard the headphone community is very extreme in its passions. Yes, the audio files. So, and this is the thing. So, like somebody that goes out and spends $2,000 on a pair of headphones is probably going to be pretty passionate about it. And I don't hold that against them. I mean, if you want to spend $2,000, I mean, Dylan owns a $3,500 microphone. So, I mean, if you want to spend $2,000 on a pair of headphones, you go right ahead. Would I? If I had $2,000 to spend on it, I probably would. I want to find out what like one of those really high-end pairs of headphones.
And the thing is if you had $2,000 to spend on that specifically, because quite frankly, if I've got $2,000 in the hopper, there's about 1,000 other things that go before that.
Right.
and so if you're at the point where rent. Rent, or just when it comes to disposable income, right? Like even like stuff for the studio, like I'm working on kind of an interface converter situation update that's going to end up costing me probably about $6,000 in the long run. And so, I if I had $2,000, it's certainly not going towards, a Macintosh. Well, that more like $8,000. But yeah, no, you've got to be passionate about it. Otherwise you're not going to spend the money on it.
Jerker, thanks for this week's episode. You guys surpassed the WAN Show as my #1 Canadian podcast at this point. Nice. I actively stay up for this one, which I do not do with the WAN Show. That's sweet.
We appreciate it.
Let me know when we hit the your best North American podcast.
Yeah.
That's the big one. Thanks, Liberty Dude. Happy birthday to Lily. I used to come in seeing this as a cozy pre-show to the WAN Show, but now this is my main gig with the WAN Show being the after party.
Nice.
Tell Linus I'm coming up, man. We're coming up. Shrimps is psyop. Don't flip your fork. Dude, yeah. Happy birthday, Lily. Go celebrate Dad. See you next week. Yep, gotta go do that. We're going for ramen. Oops,
ramen.
Sure, yeah. I've driven a forklift. Okay, so what do we anything Beyerdynamics, pretty customizable. DT770s are fairly easy to make balanced if you want. Yeah, that's why I love them for that. All right. I like headphones that can be connected balanced. Yes. Yeah. 4.4, the 4.4 millimeter jack that these things have. Know it's for audio files when it has a 4.4 millimeter jack.
Yeah.
Because that's all the wine sniffing audio files are using that jack. So have yourself a good weekend. If I've offended any audio files, my name's Dylan. I'll see you in the comments.
Shut
up. Have a good week.